Back about a year ago, I actually got very into Elite Dangerous. I loved its exploration and the surreal, relaxed gameplay it offered, and even though the expansion Odyssey was a massive steaming pile of dog shit, I loved its space grind overall and the freedom it offered. But I soon wondered, what if there was an Elite Dangerous where you weren't tied to your chair, where you could go and walk around the luxurious ships you buy, where you could go to any planet and connect your feet with its fertile or barren soul, and where you could be a part of living, breathing cities. Well, there was a game in my head that popped up, Starcitizen. And at the time, because of all the constant negativity surrounding the game and its alpha, I passed it up. I said to myself I was not going to waste $30 on a game that doesn't even have content to begin with. And well, about a month ago, I finally pulled the trigger and bought the alpha for the game. And I have to say, my previous assumptions about the game couldn't have been more wrong. This is my review for Starcitizen. I believe everyone has heard about Starcitizen before. It's a game that comes and goes from our lives many times due to its spotlight around the press and constant criticization because of its large development time. Originally, the game was publicly kickstarted about 10 years ago by a fairly unknown studio named Cloud Imperium Games, and their promise was to deliver one of the most immersive, biggest, and versatile space MMOs that the world had yet to see. As I said, it's been about 10 years since that promise, and almost $500 million crowdfunded later, its official release is still completely unknown. But the game did launch into its first ever alpha in 2015, and it has been in that alpha for about 7 years now. Look, Starcitizen has many conflicting opinions around it. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people believe it's a scam and the game's never actually going to release. But I have played about 100 or so hours at this point of the alpha, and in my opinion, the game is much more complex to be classified by these opinions. First of all, this is an alpha. It has bugs, glitches, performance issues. You're going to be falling out of the floors all the time, and crashing is going to be very frequent. Also, if you don't have strong hardware in your PC, then just forget about playing, and by that I mean at least a RTX 2060 or above. Another thing you need to realize is that this is not a finished game, and you should not be going into the game expecting a flawless experience. There's going to be many moments where you're going to be playing the game for half an hour only to be sent back to the desktop screen, losing all your equipment, or sometimes basic in-game mechanics like drinking water not working, leaving your character to die. There's a lot of frustration that's going to come from playing Starcitizen, because in the end, this whole thing is just for testing, and stability is not the main concern. And if you can't be patient or understand that, then Starcitizen is not for you, my friend. I recommend you leave this video now. But for those who have the time and can get past all these faults and flaws, the Starcitizen can be one of the best alphas you will ever experience. Trust me. Starcitizen's gameplay is designed to be immersive. You pick one of the planets as your home and begin your journey. Just a tip, you're going to be pretty clueless in the beginning of the game, since there's no tutorial it presents you with. You're going to have to learn everything by yourself. I really recommend talking to other players in the world through the chat box, because the community is very warm and welcoming. They will help you with basically anything, and one of them actually sent me like 10 million in-game currency, which is a lot. But anyways, once you get in your small starter ship and take off, you start to see the beauty of the game. Starcitizen is a very beautiful and gorgeous looking game. Its graphics are some of the most realistic I've seen, and anywhere you go in the game, it almost feels like you're in a cinematic CGI trailer. You can visit anywhere in the solar system, including different planets, moons, space stations, and the game offers you so much freedom. There's a total of 4 major planets in the game right now, completely distinct from each other and all offering unique environments. There's also a handful of moons surrounding each planet, which are also all explorable and landable on. As you explore the game and find out more about how to make money, you're going to encounter a couple of gameplay loops. You can be a bounty hunter, mercenary, package deliverer if you enjoy a bit of peace, cargo hauler, a medic, and right now, even in its alpha, there's quite a bit of gameplay loops you can go towards. Now that's not to say that these gameplay loops and exploration are what makes Star Citizen such an amazing experience at times, because in the end, all these gameplay loops lead you to grinding for ships, because that's the only sort of progression that exists in the game. Grinding and grinding for ships. Now, you've probably heard a million times before on some websites that this man bought a ship in Star Citizen for 10,000 real dollars, or how people spend thousands of dollars buying ships in Star Citizen. And while yes, people do buy ships for real money in the game, it's not because of the actual ship, but to support the game further. You can actually buy 99% of the ships in the game with the in-game currency you earn. And it can be a pretty big grind, but you can still 100% achieve that grind, especially after you start making a lot of money once you start to understand some of the gameplay loops inside of Star Citizen. But even then, you will start to get quite bored after a while of doing the same thing again and again, because a lot of the gameplay loops lack depth and in general can become quite repetitive. And grinding can also actually feel like a waste of time, since the game completely wipes its database every single year or so, meaning resetting your progress back to the beginning. This is why I recommend not to go down the grinding path in the game. Of course, make enough money for a decent ship, but after that, enjoy the damn game. Go out and mine. Go out with expeditions with your friends. Try every single gameplay loop. Hell, load up a tank on a C2 Hercules and drop it from the top of the planet, because these are the experiences that you will remember with this game. See, the tech in Star Citizen is what makes it so brilliant. How many times have you ever seen in an MMO open world game where you can go from one planet to another without any sort of loading screens or hiccups, where it is one simultaneous process? You can land on any part of the planet, get up from your chair, walk down to your ship, into your rover, and drive it across this planet that once looked like a small orb from the top. There's no illusions or trickery, it is all there in front of your face. For example, I, in this clip, ran out of fuel in my ship, so I asked someone in the chat to come and help me out. So this person brought his own ship, and in a very synchronized process, I opened my doors and the ship I was stranded in leapt into open space and flew through the door of his beautiful beast with no loading screens, no nothing, no fading, just a memorable experience created by myself. It is unbelievable at how a game's world could be disconnected and synonymous, that a person millions of miles from me can come anytime, walk through my living and standing ship while I go on a stroll in my rover on a completely different planet. This is why the game is just so immersive and amazing at times. It's so unique to what you experience with other video games and their limitations. Because in Star Citizen, there are no limitations. You experience everything in the moment, and it lets you make those moments. And while those moments can be ruined by all the alpha junk that is present, like the crashes or bugs, when Star Citizen works, it works. Simple things like flying a spaceship tightly together with a friend can become a memorable experience to share for a long time, or having a little rover race together on the rocky soil of Hurston can go down as one of your best experiences. Hell, even just seeing a big 890 jump fly over you as you stand on the surface of a moon, knowing that ship is no lie and it very much exists in the inside as well, can be such a cinematic experience. These moments are what makes Star Citizen for me. It's not the combat, if that's ship or first person, it's the little immersive moments you create for yourself as you're playing in this sandbox. I highly recommend going into the game with a friend because it can make the experience so much better. For example, I did some naughty things in the game and got myself into prison. I did not even know that was a thing, first of all, and as I was in prison, I realized it is possible to escape it. So I asked for my friend's help in the escape, and he would be my ride out. So I went through the tunnels and the caves, and remember, there is a risk for all of this. If I get caught, I get sent back with an added hour or two on my bail time. So I was fully focused on this, and in this adrenaline-filled journey, I got out, and my friend flew over his ship, picked me up in a very cinematic manner, and I ran away, only to be in prison again after somebody caught me, thanks to my bounty status, which was also another great rush. These are the things that I really enjoy in Star Citizen. Don't treat it like a finished, polished game. Treat it like a free, crazy sandbox, one where you make your own experiences and fun. If you treat the game too seriously, you're not going to enjoy it. If you focus on the money grind too much, you're only going to get burned out and move on. So if you're one of those people, Star Citizen is very much not for you. But for those who are looking to see the technicality and seamlessness of its world, making a very unique game, then Star Citizen is something that you may like. But again, it's a very flawed experience, which you are going to get quite angry at times. But anyways, Star Citizen is seriously a sandbox with great potential. It is not a scam, and no, it is not a polished game either, but it is progressing, even if that is at a very slow rate. The new solar system, Pyro, is coming pretty soon, early next year it says, but delays are more than a common occurrence for the game, so don't get your expectations too high up. For me, I have had some great memories playing Star Citizen, and I think it may be one of the best broken games I have ever experienced.